we're back in the studio now with Kimberly Nelson, and we're going to talk about the philanthropy department. And I'm sure she has lots of things that she'd like to tell us about philanthropy, what's going to happen in the next couple of months. So welcome, Kimberly.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Well, it's so nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
So glad you could come.
I know. Thanks for having me. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about today is not directly philanthropy, but it's really more about fraud prevention and scams.
Well, how do you get involved in the fraud? I've been surprised that philanthropy department is telling us about fraud.
Well, I guess the easiest answer is no one else wanted to work with it.
Okay.
And I think it's important.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And you know, you sort of think of it maybe mainly coming out through security, but they're really stretched. And so I just sort of raised my hand and said, you know what? We'll start helping coordinate and work with security and just, you know, so it is a team effort. But I just wanted to re-emphasize, I know a robocall went out on the phones where some folks got a message from Lynn Keefe, and I think Chandra might have mentioned it yesterday when she was on the scroll, but we do have this IRS scam that's going around again, and where they're calling you and they're just really so insistent to the brink of rudeness and almost bullying is how I would take it. And I just want residents to know the IRS is not going to call you. They're going to send you a certified letter. And I know that because I've gotten one.
I have too, many years ago.
Many years ago
yeah.
with, you know, a hiccup on something. So they're not going to call you. And so I just want to really stress that if you're getting these calls, just hang up.
Well, you know, first place, since we have the caller ID, you know who's calling, and so unless it's somebody you know, I don't answer the call until I get somebody said, well, hello, Gray, and then I'll pick it up. But when I get this call that says the IRS, I actually have it on my machine that I've recorded what they've said. So
yes, because you've gotten that call.
I've gotten it twice, I think it is.
Yes.
And I recorded the last one, so I know what number they want to call back. I've got the whole thing on.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, sometimes it may say the IRS and it looks very official on your caller ID, but they're really not calling from that 202 DC area code. They're calling from somewhere else. You know, nowadays they can change what comes up on your caller ID. So unless you, like you said, unless it's a phone number that you know, someone you sort of know, it is best to let it go to your answering machine.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you can determine if you would like to call them back. But if it is the IRS, do not call them back. I just want to re-emphasize that. And if you have questions, you can call our office and we'll tell you the same thing. You can contact security if you're concerned about something. But we just really want residents to know that these scammers are really very convincing and they're very persistent.
Oh, they are, and they're talking to you directly, and you know, it's just hard to resist the way they're talking to you because it sounds so authentic.
Yes.
It sounds like, and they're going to help you.
Yes.
You know, they're going to help get you through this problem.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, they are very convincing. I remember I got a phone call recently where they said, you know, that I was going to go to jail. It wasn't IRS, but it's, you know, I hadn't paid a bill and I was going to go to jail and a warrant was going to be issued for my arrest. And I said, okay, well, just send the sheriff, you know, and then they hung up on me. So, but they're very convincing. So enough of that. If you have questions, but please just tell your neighbors, talk about it around the dinner table. Do not give them any information.
Are there any others of that kind of scam going on now?
Right now, that seems to be the one that has bubbled up. Yeah. But we do have the one where they, you know, someone calls and they act like they're a grandchild or the attorney for a grandchild who's in prison or something like that. So if something just sounds a little off, it's probably not right. Sometimes even it's your computer's not working and we need to get into your computer and upload this new software and fix it. And again, those are all scams to get information and to collect your data.
So if we start having problems with our computer, then we get a call that says, hey, I understand you've got a problem with your computer. We can fix it for you.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Call the IT here. Call Harry or William for IT here or the computer club, and let's work with someone you know and trust.
Or even Microsoft.
Or you call
You can
Microsoft
call us.
directly. Yes. So, or there's that Geek Squad. You know, there are lots of options. So before you spend money, I would check options at Greenspring first.
And it's not just spending money, it's allowing them to work on your computer.
Correct. And
Yeah.
then get all this data that you may not realize is stored in your
Yeah,
computer.
because they'll actually go into your computer and manipulate it for you. you know,
Yes.
so they can fix everything.
Supposedly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir.
Supposedly, that's the point.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So anyway, so enough of that.
All
Let's
right, now
talk a little bit about the Benevolent Care Fund.
Oh, let's do that.
So
So you have things in the cubby, I presume.
So the Benevolent Care Fund, for new residents who are maybe not aware of
Oh.
it, the Benevolent Care Fund is in the residence and care agreement in your contract, and it's really Greenspring's commitment for the home for life. So that Greenspring will be your home as long as you would like it to be your home. And that if you run out of money due to usually catastrophic health care,
Yes.
that Greenspring will sort of pay the difference between maybe what your income is and what the bill is. And it does happen, especially over time.
It's easy to see because the bills for intensive nursing care,
Yes.
you know, that's about $13,000 a year, a month.
Yes, sir.
So that adds up very quickly.
Yes. And you may start with having help in your home and it may change or escalate.
Yes, yes.
And so what I want to make sure residents really understand is Greenspring is a nonprofit, which is why we can do this program. You know, if you were at a for-profit facility and ran out of money, they would say, call the kids, you're moving out. That's not Greenspring. Greenspring is we're a big family. It's neighbors helping neighbors. And think of the Benevolent Care Fund as sort of your rainy day fund. It's really for you to help you if you need it in the future. And the only way the program can really be a true success is when we all give a little and work together to make it work.
Well, we really have to give more than just a little.
Well, I would love folks to give what they feel that they could give, whether it's through annual giving, or maybe you give a little now and you can give a little more through your estate planning. You know, you can give 10% of your entrance deposit,
And we
for
can
example.
do it every month too, can we?
And you can do giving every month, and we now also have credit card as an option that's
Oh.
new. For residents, it's probably easier just to put it on your monthly bill, but if you have families who are wanting to do something, that is a new option that we can do if you come into the office. You know, we can't do it on a form because we're very confidential.
What do you mean by that?
In other words, you can't fill out a form with your credit card information. You have to come into the office and we do it with you physically with the card. We show that it goes through, that kind of thing.
When you said the family, you meant family helping you? Or?
If you have family, sometimes family members come by and say, I want to figure out how to make a donation in mom's name or dad's name or something in memorial gifts or something like that. So we do have some options that now that we didn't have previously. But we also have a bunch of events that are coming up in September. So September we call our Benevolent Care Fund Month, and we're going to get a newsletter out that just talks about that by the end of August, so you'll know what else is coming. But everyone should have already gotten a notice for the gala. So it was like a postcard with some information that if you want to buy tickets for the gala, it's Roaring 20s in honor of our 20 years at Greenspring. And of course it'll be at Hunter's Crossing. We will have caricature artists. We will have a speakeasy with blackjack and roulette and play monies.
Sounds like a sinful thing.
A sinful thing with, of course, sinful food. You know, the kitchen, they're still working on the menu, but they will have adult beverages and sinful food. And we have a band called the Silvertones that is coming in to perform, and it is 10-piece, so it's brass and jazz, swing,
big band here.
big band,
Okay.
and the Andrews sisters are coming.
Oh, they are.
They are. Who knew?
Great.
So it should be really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Will
ticket.
it be a big dinner then, as we've had in the past?
So it will be lots of food. We're
Yeah.
still trying to figure out, depending on our numbers,
Yeah.
a few things. And I'm meeting with the kitchen later this week to work out all the details, because we're going back and forth on a couple things
Okay.
to figure out where's the right space and how do we do it so folks can, you know, hear the music and still play blackjack and then still have access to food, and how do we sit and make sure we have enough seating. And so we're figuring all that out at the moment.
Now, but the Roaring 20s, are you thinking about the Roaring 2020s
Roaring
that's ahead of us?
Yeah.
Or the 1920s that are behind us?
Well, I think we can do a little bit of both.
I see. All right.
But you can come dressed as the flapper Roaring 20s and the gangster Roaring 20s if you would like.
All right. Okay.
All right?
Or we could come
Or
in
you could do as 2020, because that's right around the corner.
a Star Wars suit. Huh? I see.
Yes, I guess you could.
I see. All right. Just
Yeah.
checking.
So we're really excited, but we'll of course have someone from the Postal Inspector Service come as part of Benevolent Month to do something on postal fraud and scams that you might get in the mail.
Okay.
We're going to do an antique car show.
Oh.
We've never done one at Green
Now, is
Spring.
this with real cars or toy cars?
Real cars.
Real cars.
Real cars. So if you...
From the 20s, 1920s.
It may not all go back to the 20s. Some of them may be the 50s. But it'll be old cars.
Okay.
And that'll make it fun. So if you have a car, or maybe your children have a car, or you have a friend who have an old car, please let me know, because we'd like to give space for the vehicles first and foremost to residents or residents' family before we start bringing in some outside people for
So
that.
how old a car?
Well, it can be, well, I know we have quite a few in the 50s,
Okay.
you know, so
So you don't want newer ones like the 70s or 80s?
not unless there's something real fancy
Okay,
about it.
okay.
I think we'd try to go the 60s and back.
Okay, very good.
You know, but if you've got a new Lamborghini or something, I guess we could do that too.
That would be the 2020s.
Yes, we
I
could,
see.
you know, like the Back to the Future,
Yeah,
you know,
or
movie.
if you have a new Tesla.
Right, if you
I
have
see.
something new, then maybe we'd add that as just an extra.
Okay, well, we're just about out of time.
All right, so
Now,
just
what else is important here?
we just want you to support the Benevolent Care Fund. Know that we're all in this together, helping your fellow neighbors, whether in an independent living or over in Garden Ridge. The Benevolent Care Fund will help pay their bill.
How many people do we have on the Benevolent Care Fund?
Right now we have 8.
8.
And I know that sounds like a small number, and it is a relatively small
varies.
number. It does
Oh,
vary,
yeah.
but if you think of each of those individuals, and if you think of if they're at Garden Ridge, you know, those dollars add up very quickly.
Very quickly.
Historically, Green Spring has used over $1 million every year, helping your Green Spring neighbor continue to live here. And we've done that for about the last 6 years. So it is significant for those who need it.
I'm sure
It
it
is
is.
greatly appreciated.
I'm sure they're very relieved.
And these are residents who, just like you, have saved, who've done all the right things, who've spent every dollar on their care. It hasn't been given away
Yeah.
to family.
Yeah.
They've done it the right way, and they've just outlived their resources. And with us aging healthier and longer, it's easy to do.
Well, Kimberly,
So-
thank you very much. I have a few more questions, but I don't have time for them.
Okay, well,
But
more
see
info's
you next
coming,
month, huh?
and look for more information in your cubbies coming soon.
Very good.
Okay.